Good morning, everybody. I had to get a jump start on this bright and early morning out here so we can try to shoot this video. Believe it or not, I've shot this video more than twice, more than I want to shoot it. But I wanted to make sure I gave a good description of what I had going on. And I'm not the techiest person, honestly, so kind of an old school person myself. But anyway, my wife gave me a GoPro, so I feel like I'm obligated to try to get this right. I don't want to be the idiot with a GoPro and still can't get it right. So anyway, let's go 6 years back. 6 years back, I decided that I wanted to leave imports alone for good. And I was selling off the last bit of my Z32 parts that I ended up selling a transmission to a guy when I was living in Atlanta, Georgia. I lived in Atlanta, Georgia for about a year before I moved back to Virginia. Anyway, so that part of me living in Atlanta, Georgia, basically I was looking at C5 Corvettes. I think I was turning around 34, 35 years old, I think, when that was. And I was like, I'm about C5 Corvette. I was begging magazines to put C5s in them. Now you see it all the time. I'm not gonna name a lot of those magazines, but I was contacting a lot of magazines with articles that I was trying to write. I was trying to do a bunch of stuff. And now you're seeing a lot of it. Not saying that I had influence in that. I'm just saying that 5, 6 years ago, there were no magazines shooting C5s in it. Now there drifts, articles, and all kind of stuff, and a ton of mess. So anyway, here we go. 6 years up, I buy a C5. I bought this car on July 7th, 2020. And the ownership of this car, I want to tell you, was good, but in all honesty, it has not been good. It's not been good at all. The car looks great. So this is kind of what happened. I bought the car from a guy out in Chesapeake area. He owned it for a little while. I bought it cash out, cash money, no loan, no nothing. He had a small personal loan on it. First time he bought a car with a guy that promised me a title, and he seemed pretty good. Not to say he was scamming, but he seemed pretty good. Anyway, I bought the car from him. He promised me the title. Everything checked out, legitimate with the title, went to the bank together, whatever. All legal things turned out well. So I bought the car from him, and as I bought the car from him, he promised the title, and he could not produce it at all within the time frame that I wanted. So I ended up getting the title maybe 3-4 months later. Make a long story short, some other people got involved in it, and it seemed as though he was involved with a little bit of title flow. And I guess the money got in front of him, and he decided I could try to get the title, but in all actuality, it fell apart for him. So I get the title 3-4 months later, get the car registered. Bummer for me. Bad situation for me and him to be in, whatever. Things got a little sticky. It is what it is. So here's what I did with the car since I had it. Sorry for the sun. I ended up getting the car, and I had some money left over. So in having money left over with the car, I started modding it immediately. As soon as I got it, I started modding the car. Things that I said I was going to do in the previous video, if you see this car, is that I shaved the Corvette symbol right here. Left 2 nasty holes, so I had that shaved. Corvette has a thing that I just don't like when they're really gaudy. Corvette symbols all over the car, all over the front, all over the back, and inside of the car, symbols on the seats and on the dashboard. It's just Corvette. And then guys with leather jackets and rings and all kind of patches on the arms. That shit gaudy, man. Like, I'm sorry. It is. It's really gaudy. If you know what a Corvette is, you know what a Corvette is. If you don't know what a Corvette is, you're probably not into cars anyway. That's just my personal opinion. Whatever. So anyway, I shaved it because I hate it. If I had more money, I probably would have shaved the Corvette symbol on the license plate cover one also, but I didn't have enough money to do it. Now I would also shave the one on the back between the lights. If I keep the car long enough, we'll see. Maybe I'll shave those two as time goes on, amongst other things that I would also shave on this car. So anyway, I got rid of the sign. That turned out well. I added the track spec vents. I opted not to get the middle one. I still drive the car. I just wasn't a big fan of having rain run down the front of your car. But for real, I like the middle one. I may do it during the summer, I may not. But instead, I'm a big fan of Pratt Miller program and him doing what he did with the C6 and building stuff for the C5 race car. So the C5 race car and the C6 race car only had the ones on the side. They opted not to do the one in the middle. It wasn't any more functional. It still let air out of the car and heat and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I just decided not to do it. I may or may not do it. It's other stuff I could do with $300 rather than that. I think it came out well. I wasn't the person to do it. I did pick out my own hardware, which I picked out black hardware. I didn't like the silver ones that actually went into it. So I did pick my own hardware out of the car, the buttons that went around. I just wanted black ones to kind of match. So and I wasn't too big of a fan of trying to use rivets on fiberglass at all, especially on a car that's old. I mean, this car's a 99, same year I graduated from high school. It's over 20 years old. The wheels, the CCWs, I ended up polishing these wheels in my garage. It took a little bit. They came out all right. This car came from out of the borderline of Tennessee, Wise, Virginia area in the mountains. If this car was a 240 SX or something like that, a Japanese car with metal fenders and everything, it'd be a lot more oxidation. It would be a lot more rust on this car. This car doesn't have really any rust at all. A couple of owners I did see did take care of the car and did garage it when they could. So I was fairly impressed. But if it wasn't a fiberglass car, I probably would not have bought it anyway. Most likely I wouldn't even have entertained it. I had that situation happen in Clarksville, Pennsylvania with the RX-7 that I got when I was much younger, and the car had way more rust on it than I actually preferred. So I wasn't gonna get yanked in that again. So anyway, the wheels are good, not as wide as what I want, and they weren't as wide as what was advertised either. I will probably end up stretching these to 19 by 12 in the back and 18 by 10 in the front eventually. Right now I think the fronts are 9s and I think these are around 10s, maybe 10 or 9.5s. And I think about 10s because that's a 285 on the back, so it's probably a 10 maybe. Anyway, well, regardless of whatever it is, it still isn't wide enough for me. If I kept the car, I would probably end up going the wide body on these panels. Do like those. A little expensive. I may could get away with it this year. Maybe I can get away with that this year. Maybe sometime deeper into the year. We'll see how that runs. It's still a black interior car. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. I did take the shift boot out at this point because I want to do something else with that. I changed the shifter, the shift knob. I didn't change the shifter. The shifter in this car is a Hurst. The seats will definitely get my attention very soon, very soon. By the summer, I'll get rid of these and get Corbos or something. They're pathetic, but I knew that when I bought it. So decent. So here's the point of the video. We want to try to rip the band-aid off. Let's go ahead and rip this shit off real quick. So anyway, let's rip the band-aid right off. So when I got this car, it drove fine. Everything was good. I was happy. I was just dealing with the title issue. That was the only issue I was battling. So that was it. So I drive the car and here we go. All of a sudden, I lose third gear. That's right, I said it. I lost third gear. So no, it didn't happen during the test drive. No, it did not happen in the first 5 times I drove it. No, it did not happen in the 10th time that I drove it. No, it happened around 11 to 15 times I'm driving. And when I drove it, I was not beating the car the way that I want to beat it because I still didn't have a title at that time. And I was not sure that the people I was dealing with was gonna make me get his car back or make him give me my money back. So basically I had a car that was just trying to still keep running and keep charged up and driving and just get familiar with the dynamics of the car. But I wasn't beating it. I hadn't taken it to a track day. I hadn't done anything with it. Nothing that I wanted to do with the car. I was doing it. Just regular, ordinary driving. Nothing serious at all whatsoever. No pulls, no burnouts, no slides, no nothing. Nothing. Just driving and enjoying it like I'm some 50-year-old retarded guy with a Corvette like everybody else sees with guys with Corvettes. Not to say they're all retarded, but most of them are going very slow and they're very old. So anyway, that's you. I'm sorry, but that's just the rumor. We all know it. So wasn't doing anything and I lost third gear. So At this point, I'm really disappointed in the ownership of the car. It's about a $2,400 problem. It's not a make or break thing, but $2,400 is a lot of money that I could be spending in things that I want to spend money in, like seats, like fenders. Yeah, maybe doing just seats are like $1,000. I mean, fenders are $800. So that could be fenders and seats at that point. That could be Fortunato coilovers. Yeah, that could be sway bars from Van Steel. That could be all those things wrapped in that $2,400. Not losing it, not replacing the clutch and everything. And the clutch in it is like I said, is a McLeod. A lot of people use McLeods. They're very good. It does have a little more chatter than what I want, but as far as the grab, it's pretty good. I don't know how long it's been in the car. If you are one of the previous owners that is probably going to see this video when I post it up, tell me how long it's been in the car. If not, I'll be replacing it with something else in it. Not sure if I'm gonna go back with a twin disc or not, depending on how my money is at the time, and depends on how much meat is on this clutch. I haven't beaten the car to death, but I got some evidence that I think this car has been around the block quite a bit, especially with it being being a 99. I mean, come on, somebody's romped on it at some point. I'm sure it hasn't had a great life where she hasn't been touched at all. I'm pretty sure somebody's touched on the old girl. No, I would have. I'm pretty positive I would have by this point. I still plan on to. So that's pretty much it. As far as the brakes are concerned, I don't see a necessity to jump up to C6 brakes right off. GM has always had a really good brake program. I haven't painted these or done anything with them. I probably will repaint them over. I did buy the power stop pad package and everything that went with the car, that goes for it. It's in a box in my garage, so I'll probably end up throwing those on the car and doing pads and fluid. C6 brake upgrade is pretty good, but if you're not doing some serious tracking at this point, it's not worth it. And for me, I just like doing back road driving, autocrossing, and maybe some novice road racing up at Thornsburg at the at Dominion track, trying to get my feet wet in that. So I think that'll be a adequate brake upgrade, and really just keeping it 100. The C6 wasn't even out when, like I say, when this car was even produced. So you got to look at things like how much engineering were they using and how much driving ability were they using in 1999, through the point of they still had this same brake program going on up to around 2004. And they still had professional drivers driving on these brakes at track events and winning championships. So you don't really need the C6 brake upgrade. That's just something to consider if you ever decide on buying these cars. Sometimes those upgrades, they're not upgrades that you actually really need. They're more or less, they work, but they're kind of aesthetic. They're kind of aesthetic upgrades. These brakes are, they're fine, trust me, they're fine. So that's pretty much what I kind of got going on with the car at this point. I was able to get it registered. I did use my same frame. I was happy to get the plate that I was looking to get, back road driving. So I got that, and it's been pretty good so far. Like I said, the car's a heads and cam car. It does have a transmission brace, upgraded torque tube. Like I said, it's a cam in it. It's pretty nice. You got cross drill rotors and everything. It comes with a decent amount of stuff on it, and I really was just planning on improving the suspension and improving the cooling on the car. The wheelbase on this car is a lot longer than I actually prefer, but you do get an LS. I mean, it's an LS1 that's in it. My C4 wheelbase was a bit shorter. Believe it or not, the C4, quick tip for you, the C4 wheelbase is the same. It's the same measurements as a Ferrari F40 with the open wheel setup. So that just goes to show you the amount of engineering that was going into those cars at that time. They kind of used one of the greatest cars in the world as some tidbits from that car to kind of add on. And I say it is a Ferrari, it's not, but wheelbase measurement does matter a lot when it comes to racing. This is about the longest that I would kind of want. I think they were trying to satisfy too many people when they were trying to buy this car, because they had so much politics and so much going on with the C4 at the time when they were trying to develop it, that they didn't want a lot of buyers to back out again, because they almost lost the Corvette program. So they did want to get this one correct. And this one is a first generation hardtop before the Z06. So they only made this one 99 and 2000 with the LS, with the LS1 in it. Anything after that in a hardtop was a Z06, and that one is 2002 through 2004. Those are all Z06s. This is a fixed roof coupe with the LS1, but predecessor to that. If this wouldn't have sold well and it wouldn't have done well, there is some truth that you probably would not have even seen a LS6 or a Z06 if they didn't want it. They probably wouldn't have did it. At least not made it look like this. They probably all would have been hatchbacks. But they were gambling at the time. Sometimes it's good to gamble. Sometimes you gamble and win. Sometimes you gamble and learn. I don't think you ever really lose. I just think you learn. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you if you stuck around. If you see me out at some events, speak, whatever, I'll be looking at your stuff. You're looking at mine. It is what it is. My name is Mike Giles. Like, comment, and subscribe. My Instagram page is MG_Street Candy with a K, K-A-N-D-I. And that's me on the handle there. Same thing on YouTube. Thank you. Appreciate it. Goodbye.